choice in education in Vermont. In June 2020, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Espinoza versus Montana that if a state offers education tax credits, it must offer them to students choosing sectarian schools as well as public schools. That ruling triggered at least 3 similar cases by Vermont plaintiffs seeking to use state tax dollars to benefit their children in sectarian schools. The Valenti and Williams cases argue that parents in tuition towns should have their school districts pay the children's tuition directly to a religious school. Another case from Glover argues that if any student is allowed to take school district tuition funding to a sectarian school, then all students should enjoy that common benefit. Meanwhile, a very similar case from Maine is before the U.S. Supreme Court. But the government school lobby is urging the legislature to put a stop to what could be a costly hemorrhage of students and money out of public schools. The 4 defenders of government schooling are Vermont School Boards Association, Vermont Superintendents Association, Vermont Principals Association, and the Vermont NEA Teachers Union. Their February 23rd joint letter to the Senate Education Committee sets out their argument that expanding parental choice brings, quote, a morass of complicated legal and logistical questions. Their central message comes through loud and clear: fund only public schools. More on this tomorrow. This is John McClory. Thanks for listening.
Spring is almost here, and the sunniest days of the year are fast approaching. Hi, Tara here from Green Mountain Solar. Now's the best time to beat the summer solar install rush. Our full-time staff installs year-round, so you can get the most out of your solar panels right off the bat. By adding solar to your home or business early this year, you get to take advantage of all the sunny days to come. When your system produces more power than your home or business uses, the surplus builds credits to pay for the electricity when the days are short again. That's the beauty of Vermont Net Metering. All Green Mountain Solar systems come with monitoring, so you get to watch as your panels generate more and more power. Our solar advisors are ready to walk you through the process step by step, so you can make the best choice for your home or business. No hard sales, no hidden costs, and no pressure. Just the clean, resilient energy system that's right for you. Visit greenmtnsolar.com to get started. That's greenmtnsolar.com.
New. Get any CDC recommended vaccination from your kidney pharmacist.
I heard kidney drugs can vax the fam.
You bet we can.
HPV?
Yes, sirree.
Measles, mumps, and rubella?
Don't forget the varicella.
Meningitis?
And hepatitis.
Tdap?
It's on tap.
COVID, pneumonia, but what about shingles?
That's also one of our thingles.
And do you still do flu?
You know it's true. Vax the fam.
You bet we can.
Kidney drugs. Spring is almost here, and the sunniest days of the year are fast approaching. Hi, Tara here from Green Mountain Solar. Now's the best time to beat the summer solar install rush. Our full-time staff installs year-round, so you can get the most out of your solar panels right off the bat. By adding solar to your home or business early this year, you get to take advantage of all the sunny days to come. When your system produces more power than your home or business uses, the surplus builds credits to pay for the electricity when the days are short again. That's the beauty of Vermont Net Metering. All Green Mountain Solar systems come with monitoring, so you get to watch as your panels generate more and more power. Our solar advisors are ready to walk you through the process step by step, so you can make the best choice for your home or business. No hard sales, no hidden costs, and no pressure. Just the clean, resilient energy system that's right for you. Visit greenmtnsolar.com to get started. That's greenmtnsolar.com.
The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to wdev@radiovermont.com.
The teams you care about.
When you think about the Patriots' needs this offseason, look for one trait: explosiveness.
The stories that matter to you.
I'm not convinced that Ben Shungu, that he's not the league player of the year.
This is your home for New England sports.
Bobby Dahlbeck playing third base this year? Now that is interesting.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Brady Farkas Show on a Wednesday right here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. Short show today. Just up until 6:10. Reminds me of Red Sox season. Just up until 6:10. high school basketball playoffs. We're getting down towards championship time. We got semifinal matchups on the boys' side today. Brent Curtis on the call. White River Valley against the Long Trail School. The coverage begins at 6:15. Montpelier and Spalding with coverage beginning at 8:15. So a short show. We've got a guest list show today with just being on for 40 minutes. Tom Caron and Freddie Coleman. They're always with us on Wednesdays. I spoke to both of them already. The full interviews are available on the Brady Farkas Show podcast channel. Go and find it, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. So TC and Freddie talked with me already today. They were great, as always. Here's the skinny on baseball. The two sides are talking. They're very close on everything that we've already talked about. The thing now getting in the way is the idea of an international draft. And it's a big deal for a couple of different reasons, but this is the thing now that's holding up a deal. So I'll keep refreshing Twitter as we go and tell you if anything breaks. We could get a deal tonight. If we don't get a deal tonight, we will have been oh so close. If we don't get a deal by tonight, then we're going to start missing more games, which is going to be an issue. If we get a deal done by today, Major League Baseball says we'll play a full 162 and everybody will be okay, except we'll just start the season a week later. So fingers crossed, root for things to continue to improve here over the course of the night. UVM men's basketball semifinals tonight in the America East tournament. They're at Patrick Gym, 7 o'clock, taking on Binghamton. TB thinks they're going to roll. I think they're going to roll. They beat Binghamton by 30 when they played at Patrick Gym the last time out. So lots of things going on. We'll keep you updated on baseball, but we got a lot of NFL and Patriots news that I want to get to. So we're going to do that, and let's kick it off.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here we go.
The opening thoughts on the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center. Locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. And remember, you can also always get in on the Napa-Morrisville, Napa-Waterbury text line, 802-585-3026. You can also reach out to us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. I'm going to start the show the same way that I start off a lot of shows, with this proclamation. Say it with me because you've heard it before. Two things can be true at the same time. I feel like at least twice a week we're starting the show with that proclamation, and that is definitely true today. The first thing that is true is this. I would not have made the trade the Denver Broncos made for Russell Wilson if I were the New England Patriots. I wouldn't have done it. As much as I want Russell Wilson or wanted him in New England, it was too much. It was too much for the Patriots. For Denver, they could make the deal easier. They had the infrastructure in place to already think that they were pretty close. They had the receivers. They have the running game. They feel good enough about the line. The defense, they've already got a lot of it addressed. So Denver felt like they were in a position to mortgage the future to go for the now. I don't believe the Patriots are quite in that spot. While I would have traded 2 first-round picks and Mack for him, I would not have traded 3 players, 2 first, 2 second. I wouldn't have done all that. The Patriots are not in a position to gut the roster to bring in Russell Wilson. And Trenny over at NBC Sports Boston said the same thing last night.
They have too many spots that they need to build. So even if you bring him in here, like is a Russell, maybe a Tom Brady, maybe an Aaron Rodgers comes in with these pieces and can make them that much better. I don't know that a Russell Wilson would have done that. I actually think a trade like that would have set the Patriots back.
She's right. The Patriots have too many holes right now to make the deal that Denver made yesterday. The Patriots need an all-new linebacking group. Juwan Bentley, free agent. Dante Hightower, free agent. Kyle Van Noy, released. So Jamie Collins, gone. Like an entire new linebacking core is needed. They need defensive back help now. They need another pass rusher. They need another wideout. If you trade away all of those assets to get Russell Wilson, I don't think you're gaining much ground, if any. So I would not have made this deal. We saw in 2019 what the Patriots look like when you have a great quarterback and not a lot else. And that's not something that I want to repeat. So the first thing that's true, I would not have done this deal. The second thing that's true, though, is please, 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 I am begging you, do not tell me that the Patriots didn't need to explore a deal for Russell Wilson because you believe so heavily in Mac Jones. Please do not tell me that. I am hearing that everywhere, and I just don't get it. Tom Curran, NBC Sports Boston, among the most reputable Patriots insiders there is.
100% no. The Patriots have a quarterback that is simple, predictable. He is a Camry, and he might be a souped-up Camry by the time you're done.
So Tom Curran says the Patriots don't need Russell Wilson because they've got a souped-up Camry in Mac Jones. And Mark Dendero of WEEI, a guy who doesn't know me, but I follow him on social media, and I like him a lot. He's saying it too.
I think Mac Jones is a good player. I think he's an ascending talent. I'm really high because I see a lot of Mac Jones in Joe Burrow. I think he's going to continue to impress. I think his head is in the right place. I think he leads. I'm a Mac Jones believer. Okay, and I've only gotten more and more. I've only gotten to a higher level of belief since the season ended, honestly.
I am banging my head against the wall every time I hear that stuff. Do not tell me you didn't need Russell Wilson because you have Mac Jones. This offseason is already exhausting me. People are out there drinking, day drinking, apparently, in Patriot land. They're all drinking the sauce because this is ridiculous. Like, if you thought the deal for Russ was too much, then fine. We're on the same page. But if you tell me you don't need Russ because you have Mac Jones, I don't want to hear it. Don't tell me you're happy with your Toyota Camry. You have a Camry. At the end of the day, you have a Camry, and the rest of the AFC is driving Lamborghinis. As we sit today, where do you honestly think the Patriots rank, or Mac Jones ranks, in the quarterback rankings in the AFC? Listen. There's 16 teams in the AFC. Right off the bat, Josh Allen's better. Patrick Mahomes is better. Joe Burrow is better. Russell Wilson is better. Justin Herbert is better. Lamar Jackson is better. That is 6 quarterbacks that right now today in the AFC are better than Mac Jones. Mac Jones is no better than 7th in the AFC as we sit right now, and I could easily make the case that today Derek Carr is better and Ryan Tannehill is better too. Maybe not better long term, maybe not better for the next 5 years, but better today. So as we sit, at best case scenario, the New England Patriots have the 7th best quarterback out of 16, and they may, if you put Tannehill and Carr ahead of them, have the 10th best quarterback in the AFC. That is not something you should feel good about. Do not tell me you feel great about the Patriots quarterback situation, because it's very, very evident they are at best at the midpoint of the conversation in the AFC quarterback rankings. And I would say that Mac is better than Baker Mayfield, and I would say that Mac is better than Tua, but I could also say Cleveland has a better roster than New England, and Miami may too. Like, things are not trending up for the Patriots right now. Miss me with the optimism. Let's just tell the truth. It is not as optimistic as you all wanted to believe, or as you all want me to believe, and as much as you all want to think. This is delusional thinking. The Patriots today are not a playoff team. Last year they were. Today they are not. I got Oliver on the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. Guy's been in the league 1 year, seemed to compete well with all those Lamborghinis for just being a rookie. Save your Mac hate for another couple of years. I don't hate Mac. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't hate Mac Jones. I am a Mac Jones realist. And the real truth, and apparently I'm the only one willing to say it, the real truth is that he's good. Mac Jones is good. He's not great. The guys around you in the AFC, they are great. Allen's great. Mahomes is great. Burrow is great. Herbert is great. Wilson is great. And Lamar Jackson is very good. His very good is still better than Mac Jones is good right now. And being good gets you near the club, but it doesn't get you in the club, not regularly. And that's the problem. I'm not looking to get a 7 seed. I'm not looking to just get to the playoffs. I'm not looking to sneak in at 9 and 8. I'm looking to win the Super Bowl. Wasn't it fun when the Patriots were going to 3 straight Super Bowls? Wasn't it fun when the Patriots were winning 2 out of 3 of those Super Bowls? That was fun. That's what I want back. And when you have a good quarterback, you're not in that conversation. Not continuously. Here, Virginia and Starksboro brings up my next point. Mac isn't great, but he can get the Patriots to a Super Bowl the way Flacco got one in Baltimore. Mac Jones can get to a Super Bowl. I will acknowledge that. But do you have any idea what would need to go right for you? What would need to go right for you in order to get to a Super Bowl and win it with Mac Jones? Everything would need to go right for you. Look at the Tennessee Titans. They're the perfect comp. Ryan Tannehill's the quarterback. Good, not great. Good roster around them. They've built up a good infrastructure. They got the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs this year. And you know what happened? The minute they had to play a good quarterback on the other side, they got beat. And even if they had beat Cincy, did you really think they were going to beat KC or Buffalo the next round? Because I don't. The Titans are the perfect comp. Things go right. You get a good seed. You win a bad division. You play in a bad division. You win a bad division. You get some scheduling breaks along the way. Somebody else stubs their toe. You get the 1 seed. That could be the Patriots, sure. But the minute you get to the playoffs, I'm taking all those other Lamborghinis again. Mahomes, Allen, they're erasers. They're overcomers. Mac Jones is a guy who they're going to need everything to go right for them. And what are the odds that everything is going to go right for you? They're not good. If the Patriots are going to win, they're going to get to a Super Bowl. Here's what they're going to need. They're going to need Josh Allen to get hurt, or everybody around Josh Allen to get hurt in Buffalo, and you're going to have to win the division that way. They're going to need for the AFC West teams to all beat up on each other so massively that 3 of them are not in the playoffs. They're going to need some more, they're going to need Pittsburgh to stay down on their luck and not figure out the quarterback position. You're going to need no injuries of your own. You're going to need a favorable schedule. You're going to need good sequencing of your schedule, and you're going to need to catch some other breaks too. Mac Jones can get to the Super Bowl. I've said that all along. Get to the Super Bowl on his rookie deal. It's the only chance you have. The optimism is not looking up. Mac Jones is good. Go ask the Minnesota Vikings what it's like to have a good quarterback. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. A good quarterback with Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, and Justin Jefferson around him in the last couple of years, and a great running back in Dalvin Cook, playing in a bad division in a dome stadium, and they can't even get to the playoffs. Having a good quarterback doesn't do much for me. You need great. If your goal is to just get to the playoffs every year, then Mac Jones will get you around that conversation. That's not my goal. My goal is to win the Super Bowl. That's it. That's the only goal I have. This is the New England Patriots. This is not the Detroit Lions. The Arizona Cardinals, they can be happy getting to the playoffs. The Jets, they can be happy getting the 7 seed. The Jags, thrilled to death at one divisional round. That's good for those teams. It's not good enough for me. Everybody knows Mac Jones is good. I'm not disputing that. I'm telling you that everybody else around him is great. He is at best the 7th best quarterback in the AFC. At worst, he's 10th. Is that a spot that you feel real confident about? Not me. If the Patriots were in the NFC, I might tell you that they're an NFC championship team with how bad the NFC looks right now. But they're not. This is reality. The AFC is loaded. And when you tell me that Flacco got to the Super Bowl in 2010 or a couple of years ago, 8 years ago at this point or whatever, with Baltimore, I'd have to go back and look like, yes, Brady was there. Yes, Manning was there. What did the rest of the AFC look like? I mean, what did the rest look like? Not great. I think that was the one where Flacco beat Manning in the playoffs in Denver, if I'm remembering correctly. Like, I'd have to go and look and see everything. All right. Let's see. Virginia says, yeah, it was fun going to 3 straight Super Bowls. We're not doing that again. Brady, with today's gas prices, I'll take the Camry any day over the Lamborghini. And Steve says that Mac is like a cocktail. He's going to get better with age. All that is on the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. And then over on the Facebook Live page, Joe says that I can argue Carr and Tannehill aren't better than Mac. He's going to get better with time. Fine. Even if you think that Carr and Tannehill are not better than Mac, he's still 7th. I'll split the difference with you. One of them's better. Mac Jones is 8th. I mean, what are we talking about here? He's good. It's not great. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM at WDEVradio.com. All right, coming up next, J.C. Jackson. The Patriots are going to let him walk. They've apparently made a gross miscalculation. I'll tell you why.
At Union Bank, we've been traveling the back roads and main routes of Vermont and New Hampshire for generations. So when it comes to mortgages, we know the local landscape and the best way to get you home. Union Bank, stay local, go far. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hello, I'm Penny Hester Ingram, a speech-language pathologist at Copley Hospital. I treat children and adults for a broad range of communication disorders, including voice issues, swallowing disorders, and problems with articulation, fluency, comprehension, and cognitive abilities. The first step in developing a treatment plan is assessing the patient's strengths and needs. I do this through an evaluation, which includes discussing the patient's history, observing the problem, and discussing the patient's goals as well as that of the family. Treatment is a step-by-step process. Families also play a vital role in treatment as they help to bring the techniques used in the clinic to the home. If you or a family member could benefit from the services offered through Copley Hospital's Speech-Language Pathology Department, call 802-888-8303
or log on to copleyvt.org.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
I'm 54, so it's too late to start saving for retirement, right?
Not right. Starting to save even in your 50s can really make a difference. At aceyourretirement.org, in just 3 minutes, you'll get a free personalized retirement plan. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Just because you're away from your radio or out of our broadcast range doesn't mean you have to miss out. Listen live on the WDEV stream, brought to you by AARP Vermont. WDEV's morning, midday, and afternoon news services, Vermont Viewpoint, and the Brady Farkas Show can all be found on the WDEV stream at WDEVradio.com. Brought to you by AARP Vermont, working to bring down the cost of prescription drugs for all Americans. AARP.org/VT.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show, right here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. All right, let's examine what's going on with J.C. Jackson of the Patriots, defensive back. We know this, leads the league in interceptions since 2018. Yesterday, the league's franchise tag deadline came and went. The Patriots did not put the tag on Jackson. He is now an unrestricted free agent. Phil Perry, our guy, NBC Sports Boston, does this mean that Jackson, even as he hits free agency, does it mean 100% he's done in New England?
I wouldn't rule it out. I got a chance to talk to him just before the show tonight, and I wouldn't rule out a return to the Patriots. But my guess, Trenny, is that he's going to be playing elsewhere.
Okay, so it's not likely that J.C. Jackson comes back. Now, Phil, how much money does J.C. Jackson want?
They like him. They just like him at their number. And the two sides couldn't meet this offseason, so we know he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. And what I was told in Indianapolis, talking to some folks around the league, is that he could be in line for a contract that pays him around $18 million a year, which would pay him as a top 5 corner. I'm not sure the Patriots are going to be willing to match that kind of figure. I think that figure is going to be out there for him.
The Patriots have made a gross miscalculation somewhere. The organization that is always so well prepared and is known for being so detail-oriented and is always planning and is always one step ahead, the Patriots seem to have been caught flat-footed here. They let Stefan Gilmore go after playing hardball with him, evidently because they felt they had an in-house option, and that in-house option was J.C. Jackson. Fine. There is no in-house option here. In fact, the Patriots now need almost an entirely new defense. J.C. Jackson could have anchored the secondary. He could have anchored the defense, and instead, all you've done is introduce another question. J.C. Jackson could have been an answer, and instead we just get more questions. Where was the succession plan? What exactly did the Patriots think that letting J.C. Jackson go, what did they think their options were? Because they don't have somebody there to replace J.C. Jackson. They don't appear, the organization that always plans well does not appear to have planned well when it comes to this one. And, this team, Jackson's going to be gone. Devin McCourty's a free agent. Jonathan Jones is a free agent. Hightower, Bentley, Van Noy, Collins, they're all gone. This team's going to need potentially 8 new starters. It's absurd the amount of turnover there could be on this Patriots defense. Adrian Phillips will be back. Kyle Duggar will be back. Judon will be back. Devon Godshaw. And beyond that, I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you. So the Pats miscalculated something somewhere. Secondly, on the money that Phil says J.C. Jackson's going to want, he's going to get it. Make no mistake. Somebody is going to pay him that money. Somebody wins free agency every year, and somebody throws money around at free agent time every single year. And J.C. Jackson will be the recipient of it. And I don't begrudge him for getting as much money as he can. This is the one shot for J.C. Jackson. This is it. This is what he has. He was an undrafted free agent. He played 3 years on an undrafted free agent salary, played at about $3 million last year. Now he's 26. This is his chance. As a DB, you don't usually get a chance at 30 to set the market. So this is his chance. I don't begrudge him one bit for wanting the money. He's already won a Super Bowl. Yesterday, I kind of harped on Aaron Rodgers taking too much money, essentially. J.C. Jackson, I don't feel that way about. He plays a position where his legacy is not about championships. He can get his money. Quarterback is different. J.C. Jackson's already won a Super Bowl. So if he wants to take care of himself, he's already done the team thing. If he wants to go to the Jags, or if he wants to go to Houston or Seattle or Indy or whoever has the money, I don't care. He deserves it. He played as an undrafted free agent for 3 years. Go ahead and get yours. I'm not going to blame a guy for capitalizing on his one shot. Aaron Rodgers has had several shots. He didn't need to do exactly what he did reportedly in taking all the money. He could have helped the team a little bit. It was a little vain of Aaron Rodgers. J.C. Jackson, like, this is your chance. Go ahead and get yours. And then there was this from Andrew Callahan, who covers Boston sports, who talked about the Pats and the Jackson situation.
This has been a long time coming. The Patriots have been reticent to commit long-term money to him, something they could have done last year. And I think it's more, about his play, which is probably at the high end of a number 2 corner across the league, but also some off-field stuff that goes back to when he was drafted. So I think he's matured a little bit in New England, but the character part has to be consideration when you're talking about money that he might get, which could be upwards of $20 million per year.
J.C. Jackson, I take exception to that statement. J.C. Jackson did have character issues his first year of college at the University of Florida. Serious character issues. He left the program. He was involved in an alleged robbery, an alleged planned robbery of which he was a big part of. There was a gun involved. So, there was serious stuff with J.C. Jackson his first year of college. That was nearly a decade ago. At some point, you have to stop holding that over a guy's head. I'm not condoning J.C. Jackson's mistake, but to bring it up a decade later as a reason to not pay him what he's earned, that feels like very, very low-hanging fruit to me. J.C. Jackson left Florida, went to Maryland, was an upstanding citizen at Maryland from everything I've read. He was an undrafted free agent because of what happened at Florida. That I can understand. If you're afraid of what the guy did at 18 and you don't want to draft him at 21, I can understand that. That makes sense. He's now 26 years old. It was a decade ago. The Patriots had him in their locker room for the last 4 years. They saw the man every single day up close and personal. They had no problem signing J.C. Jackson and giving him a chance. They had no problem playing J.C. Jackson. He never missed a game for any kind of unreliability. And they let Stefan Gilmore go because they trusted J.C. Jackson to be there enough. I did not like that comment from Andrew Callahan. That feels like low-hanging fruit to me. Tom Caron of Nesson, earlier today, I spoke to him on the podcast channel. He agreed.
So if it's straight, if those comments are being straight from that freshman year stuff 10 years ago, then I think that is not fair. You could probably find plenty of freshman professors at St. Michael's who said, I had character issues when I was a freshman. Okay, I grew out of those. You got to give somebody a chance to grow and mature. And
yeah, giving somebody a chance to grow and mature. That's what needs to be done here. Look, if they don't want to pay him because they want to save money, or if they don't want to pay him because they don't think he's good, that's one thing. But if you want to tell me there's character concerns over something that happened a decade ago when he spent the last 8 years being an upstanding member of a college community at Maryland, in your community, in your locker room, then I'm not buying that as a reason to not pay him. They're not. Look, again, if you don't want to pay him because you just don't think he's good, then that's one discussion. Don't hold him back because of something that happened almost 10 years ago. You got to give a guy a room to grow and a room to evolve. Brady Farkas Show, national news update coming next. We'll be back at it as we finish out the show, this short show on DEV.
96.1 WDEV FM Warren, 96.5 W243 AT Barrie, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Matt Piper in New York. The White House is warning that Russia could possibly use chemical or biological weapons in Ukraine. Press Secretary Jen Psaki tweets they could do it to create a false flag operation and says no one should fall for it. That comes as Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky just sat down with Sky News, reiterating his calls for the West to impose no-fly zones.
Now it's very bad. And in future, it will be too late. And believe me, if it's prolonged this way, yes, you will see they will close the sky, but we'll lose millions of people.
His words come hours after this. A direct strike, Ukraine says, by Russia on a maternity hospital. At least 17 people were wounded. Now, 2 weeks into the war, the BBC's Steve Rosenberg is on the streets of Russia outside of a McDonald's, where many are against the war Vladimir Putin started.
Customer Allah believes the Russian offensive is destroying Russia's future.
It's very sad. It's not just McDonald's that's closing. All Western businesses are shutting down. It's a symbol of the new times. We'll be left isolated.
International brands are vanishing from Moscow's shopping centers, but Russians have less money to spend here anyway. Sanctions have caused the value of the ruble to plunge.
A vote has just been called off and a new plan is being put together ahead of a Friday deadline on a sweeping $1 trillion plan to fund the government, the fight against COVID, and to help Ukraine.
Both parties agreed on more than $10 billion in Ukraine aid and nearly 2,000 pages of other provisions in the legislation to keep the government operating. But some Democrats bristled at a deal cut by leadership to pay to fight the pandemic. Speaker Nancy Pelosi says they'll try again tonight, but pull the COVID funding out and pass the rest instead.
I didn't get what I wanted in the bill. You're telling Noah about the flood. I didn't get what I wanted in the bill.
The speaker says the U.S. House will try to approve the COVID funding separately. Republicans say too much was left to the last minute. Scott McFarland, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
If you didn't fill up earlier in the week, you're probably kicking yourself now. Gas prices have gone up about 10 cents a day. Now the average is $4.25 a gallon. CBS's Michael George with some tips.
There are some ways to ease that pain at the pump. Pay with cash, not credit. Join a fuel rewards program. Use a phone app to track pricing in your area and maximize your fuel economy. Lighten the load in your vehicle, idle less, and coast more.
The Dow gained 654. This is CBS News.
There's always something new under the sun. CBS Mornings, weekdays on CBS.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
The Brady Farkas Show now has an interactive text line, so reach out now at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show, right here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. High school basketball coming up, coverage beginning about 10 minutes from now. It's the White River Valley squad out of the Royalton area going up against the Long Trail School, the Mountain Lions. And then at 8:15, our coverage begins of Montpelier and Spalding, those Washington County rivals doing battle. Brent Curtis is already sitting courtside at the Barry On, waiting for tip-off. He'll be with us again in about 10 minutes. Reminder, after the show is over, full show podcast available at Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, our interviews today with Tom Caron and with Freddie Coleman. They're both up already. Yesterday, we ended the show with something I wanted to get to. We didn't have an opportunity to. Remember the Calvin Ridley story earlier this week? Falcons wide receiver suspended at least a year for gambling on NFL games, including on his own team. Former Patriots tight end Jermaine Wiggins, now a radio host at WEEI in Boston, he had this take.
And I agree with Greg. It should be simple. All across sports, there should be one betting thing. You can bet on any sport. You can bet on football. You just can't bet against your team.
Do you think you should be able to bet games, and do you think you should be able to bet for your team to win? 802-585-3026. I can see Wiggy's point. I actually can, but it's too slippery of a slope. You cannot allow this. It's too risky, and it's too slippery of a slope. The league has too much invested, too much at stake. You cannot risk this. I get the concept. Well, I was betting on my team to win. That means I'm going to try harder. The integrity is still intact. You can make that argument, but it's too much of a risk. It leads to too much of a snowball effect. Remember how people bet. Most people usually don't bet the money line. Like, it's not as simple as just, I bet my team to win or I bet my team to lose. Well, people are going to bet with the spread. People are going to bet over-unders. People are going to bet parlays and all that. Like, it's just going to go in a direction that you don't want it to. It opens up a can of worms that you're not ready for. Like, how often do we see a guy who takes a knee at the end of a game instead of going in for a touchdown? Well, what if a guy takes that knee not because it's best for football, because it's best for his bet, because he's got his team covering? What if it's best for football to take that knee and the guy doesn't because he goes into the end zone because it impacts his bet? It's not worth it. Ralph says, no way, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. I'm with you. It's just too much. I get, like, you don't feel like a bad guy if you're betting for your team to do well, but it's not something that I want any part of. And the league shouldn't want any part of it as well. So, and remember this, like, Ridley, he's got insider information. Then what if he leaves the Falcons? Now he's got insider information around the whole league. And now everybody who leaves a team has inside information. It gets too messy too quickly. The integrity of the game is the most important thing in the game. You cannot allow this to be the case. And then, by the way, from a gambling perspective, I don't think the gambling companies would want this either, right? Like, Calvin Ridley has insider knowledge. So he throws $1 million on his team based on inside information. And then the gambling companies take a bath. They're not in this thing to lose either. They don't want insider trading happening either. Gambling companies don't want it. The league can't afford it. I don't believe that it should be a thing. So, again, I kind of get Wiggy's point on its own, on the surface, but it's certainly not something that is worth it. So it is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. All right, let's wrap up here. A couple of things. Major League Baseball, let's get the latest update. The two sides are meeting. There appears to be a little bit of animosity right now. The biggest thing that's happening is that the international draft is the biggest deal right now. And so the league has given the players 3 proposals to choose from. And if the players say no to all of them, then the league's going to walk away and we're going to have more games canceled. If they accept one of the 3 related to the international draft, then they can hammer out the rest of the deal. We probably get a deal done tonight. We're going to talk more about it with Buster Olney of ESPN tomorrow. We're going to have all the reaction to it. Whichever way this goes, Buster is going to be with us tomorrow. And we obviously cannot wait to talk with Buster. He's going to be with us tomorrow at 5:45. I think the deals that I've seen on the table have been pretty good for the players. I've been on the players' side all this time throughout. I've been against the owners throughout this thing. But the deal that's on the table now for the players seems pretty good. And I don't know that the international draft is the hill that they want to go down on. And here's what the league has said. If a deal is not done today, we're not playing 162 games. We're just not. If the deal gets done today, we could still play 162. We'd have to alter some things, but we could still do it. If a deal does not get done today, then we're not playing 162. And now you got issues, all kinds of other issues. Players want to be paid for 162, even if 162 is not played. Now that becomes a fight. What happens to a guy's service time if the season is cut shorter? That opens up a can of worms the players don't want either. This deal, to me, on the surface, looks pretty good. I know the devil's always in the details, but this deal looks pretty good. From where I'm sitting, I don't think international draft is what these guys need to halt the season any further on. So let's see if there's a last update here from any of the writers that are covering this thing. John Heyman of the NFL Network. Yeah, players are going over the three options the league gave. Some are trying to decipher the meaning and ramifications. There you go. It looks like that's where we're at. This could be a long night. The deadline is said to be tonight. I don't know exactly what time tonight. So, yeah, Ken Rosenthal says that's a word that can be interpreted quite liberally. So, see what happens. All right, that's it for the Brady Farkas Show. High school basketball is coming up next. Go find the podcast. I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Remember, Buster will be with us at 5:45. So, high school basketball, 6:15 and 8:15. It's playoff time at the Barry Odd. Brent Curtis is standing by courtside. Be with you momentarily here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Did you serve in the military? Do you have access to your local Vermont or Western New Hampshire public library? If so, stop by and ask library staff for a free packet from the White River Junction VA containing information on benefits and eligibility. Library Gateways to VA is a project partnering the White River Junction VA with area public libraries. So stop by your local library today and ask for a Library Gateways to VA information folder.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Radio Vermont Sports WDEV.
This is Northfield Savings Bank